now we can tell you Anambra governorship election is just about 10 days away. And so candidates have been going around the state to canvass votes ahead of the election. Tonight, we continue our engagements with the candidates and who are saying that they want to lead the state, Anambra State, in the southeast region of the country. One man tonight I will be speaking with is the one who says that he's seeking continuity. The candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, ABGA, and the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Professor Charles Soludo. He joins us from Anambra State tonight. Thank you so much, Prof, for joining us tonight. Let's begin the conversation around what we heard the IG says about the issue of deployment. What's your take on the heavy deployment of police personnel for the election?
Well, thank you very much. Are you hearing me?
Absolutely, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. Oh, thank you very much. I think that's a welcome news, and but that's not new. If you recall, whenever you have one state election in the country, that is usually this heavy deployment. We've had that in 2017. We had that in 2014. And if you recall the Edo election and several other states where you have one state election, the particular day, you always have heavy deployment of police. So I think it's welcome, and especially in the light of recent challenges and threats regarding security, the heavy deployment is welcome. At least that will help to calm the situation, give the people the confidence that you can just walk. I mean, your polling booth is just a stone throw from your house. You just walk a few meters, you go and vote and go home. And so I welcome that, and I think that will greatly help.
You are one person that is seeking continuity in the sense that you want the ABGA as a political party to continue in the reins of power in Anambra State. But security is now a major problem in Anambra State. Do you have a solution to the issue of security or the insecurity in your state?
When you talk about that, let's put the security thing in context. Anambra has, over the last 7 years and a half, actually been recognized nationally as the safest state. And the governor has won various awards given to it by various security agencies and rating agencies on security. Anambra has remained safe. It's remained the state where people who used to fear to come home because of kidnapping used to have their traditional weddings and so on in Abuja, Lagos, and so on. And in the last 7.5 years, we've never had it so good. A boom in the hospitality industry and boom in economic activities and poverty coming down from 53% to 14% and so on and so forth. And now in the last few months, of course, you know that the spate of insecurity in the entire country, Anambra not an exception. So for us in Anambra, the recent events happen to be a surprise, an outlier, as it were, a sudden shock that is out of the normal. And I think our governor is also doing everything to bring that. They're working with the federal security agencies. And I think they have stepped up to the plate. And so for me, when you talk about continuity, that is in terms of the party in power, APGA. APGA has, over the last 60 years, done the people of Anambra proud. It is their own party. They believe in it. It's almost like a cult-like followership in Anambra. And it has delivered the dividends of democracy to the people of Anambra. P2B did well. Everybody acknowledges that in the state by implementing the manifesto of APGA. And Governor Obiano has done even better, not only implementing the same, but has taken it much higher. Next tomorrow, the Anambra Airport, International Cargo and Passenger Airport, will be commissioned. And all the flights into Anambra next tomorrow are fully booked, even for Sunday. And that is a landmark achievement. We built an airport with the second longest runway in Nigeria after Murtala Mohammed Airport, an international convention center that will seat over 10,000 people. And like I said, poverty tumbling down from 53% to 14%. That's one of the states with the highest improvement in terms of poverty, going south instead of upwards. And so APGA has served Anambra well. And that is why the people are not in a haste to want to switch parties. I mean, if it's not broken, why do you fix it? You just keep on. Of course, whatever is not fixed over the last development and transformation continues to be a lifetime and never an ending process. You keep improving, you keep improving, you keep improving, you keep improving. Even the United States of America recently passed a $2 trillion infrastructure fund to rebuild America's infrastructure. So even including roads and so on and so forth. So you just keep moving up. Continuity in terms of the platform that has delivered the dividends to the people. We haven't had it so good. And in terms of stability and tranquility and the dividends in all facets of it. And so they want that platform. The people of the state want it to continue. It's not just me seeking that continuity. And what we now hope to do is to build on the foundation built by APGA over the last 16 years. First, by Peter Obi, who led, if you like, the preliminary phase. Obiano has built on top of it. And we are going to take it even from there, consolidate on those achievements, continue with, all the projects started, continue them, complete them, start off new ones, consolidate them, and take off on a trajectory of massive transformation.
So, I was asking because solution is part of the acronym that you put together for your campaign. You said you are the man who has brought solution. So you've told us what the Obiano, the succession plan, and all of that is all about. But you've not really told us what you as a person will bring on board to permanently solve the problem that you say that just came up a few weeks ago in Anambra State, a new phenomenon in your state. What is specific is a solution that you are bringing on board in the issue of insecurity?
Okay. Now, I'm hoping that we'll be able to get to the larger agenda, my larger agenda, which is the Soludo solution, if I may give you that as a 72-page manifesto for the people of Anambra. And security happened to be one of the major.
Then I'll send some check to you. I'll send a check to you, Prof, for the advertisement of your manifesto. It's fair enough. It's not going to be too expensive for you, but I'll send a check to you. That's not a problem. You can afford it. Go ahead, please.
Well, I'm not charging you as well for this appearance, but let's go on to this now. Now, the point I want to make is that in my manifesto, I have a whole section on security, and we consider it as one of the enablers, one of the foundations. Of course, if you're without security, most of the other things are not going to happen. And let me put a context to it. First is that there is something that has made Anambra the safest state in the Federation over the last 7.5 years. And that is the security architecture put together by the governor and working with the federal security agencies. And they have diligently implemented those. The local vigilante system, the local village vigilante system, coexisting in tandem with the federal forces, as you very well know. All the armed forces, police, and all of those belong into the exclusive list. And so they're within the forte of the federal government. And that's basically in charge. But the governor is the chief security officer, and at least nominally in the Constitution. But our governor hasn't taken it in a nominal sense. He's taking some steps. And what I intend to do under my manifesto is to consolidate on the existing security architecture. by way of seeing this two-way interface between the local security forces, these federal security forces, providing the equipment and technology and training for the various arms that operate within Anambra, especially on intelligence gathering. But even more fundamentally as well, that we need to engage. This is going to be new and different. We want to have very robust engagement, that is, in addition to the existing architecture, with, if you like, the non-state actors, which some people say some of the recent happenings seems to be politically motivated in some people, politicians who are desperate to ensure insecurity as their own strategy to ensure voter apathy and voter suppression, as the case may be. But that is going to be transient if that is the case after the election. And if, by the grace of God, we win, I think that will also fizzle out. But going forward, we need to bring all the actors to the table. The non-state actors.
So if I may get it, Prof, quickly, so let me sorry to cut in. If I may get it, you say you're bringing the non-state actors. What we've seen in the past is the proscribed group, IPOB, was calling for a sit at home. The question is, how would you resolve, how would you give a permanent solution to the issue of IPOB and the agitation and the threats that we have seen in the past few weeks?
Let me tell you this. I mean, there are multiple pathways to this. The first, obviously, is that in a democracy, you dialogue. In a democracy, you discuss. Agitation, I have a two-pronged approach to agitation. The first approach of it is obviously prosperity. Prosperity and livability of our homeland will cure many of this restlessness and joblessness and so on and so forth for our youth. That's what prosperity, and that's what my manifesto is designed to build, a livable and prosperous homeland. That is the medium and longer term. In the medium term, the IPOB and its own views about the homeland, it's something that I believe, quite frankly, that we must discuss. You cannot shoot an idea. You can shoot individuals coming up, but what their ideas were really, in various fora in the past, I have called for very rigorous and robust debate on this matter, which hasn't quite been rigorously interrogated, if even to offer alternative narratives and counter-narratives, as it were. And unless people discuss this in an open, transparent manner and see where because somebody, if you are in silos and you want to shoot an idea, like I said, you can never shoot guns at ideas. You can only shoot bodies, but not ideas. And when some ideas are propelling certain actions, we need to get out and interrogate those ideas and debate them vigorously. And then, probably in the process, synthesis and antithesis, you come to some, thesis and antithesis, you come to some kind of synthesis as to the way to go. Being part of the Federation of Nigeria, and until and when or if, whatever they are seeking, we need a peaceful, livable, and prosperous homeland. As it people are bound to have different opinions about how you run a society, how you create prosperity. But there is one thing that I believe everybody agrees, and that is that the youth need jobs, they need good schools, they need good hospitals, they need good roads, they need healthcare, they need livable, clean, planned cities where their children can live in comfort and in some peace. And I think there is no question, no debate about that. Now, once we agree on that, the next question is the how. And people have alternative views. And I think we need to come to terms to interrogate this in a more vigorous form. And I believe that interrogation, because several times I've had this kind of some debates or some conversations with some, I come to a conclusion that people are not, I mean, in terms of the objective is simple prosperity and for, I mean, a good life and so on and happiness for everyone. That's what everybody is saying. In terms of the means, we've got to come to terms with it. Is this something you're going to shoot you up through to have?
All right.
I am not quite.
Let me quickly take you away from security, because I know if we continue on discussing security, we can discuss it for several hours and throughout the whole day, because it's a very important aspect of the lives of the people. But let me take you to one aspect that is your area. But you've said that you're going to create 130,000 jobs annually. So the question is that 130,000 times 4, you're talking about almost 600,000 jobs plus jobs. And the question is, where will those jobs come from? How would you do that? And because the criticism is that there are debts that have been incurred by the present government that you are going to be inheriting should you become governor. How do you defend that? What do you say to that?
You've asked too many questions at a time. In terms of the one bucket of your question is the issue of debt. That's at the speculation level. I mean, that's people say and think and say. I don't speculate. I deal with facts, as you might know. That's my background. Is that I don't get into speculation. I deal with the facts. When I say the facts, we'll get to interrogate them. But assuming, and I mean that what you said is right, I guess the full gamut of my manifesto is standing on 4 major plans, because you asked the issue of how. And our vision to have Anambra, as you well very well know, the large chunk of our population happen to be involved in the commercial sector of the economy. That's the dominant part of our economy, and that's also the largest sector that absorbs the labor force currently. We want to continue to maintain Anambra as its dominant position in the area of commerce. But then, an economy that is dominated by informal commercial system, that's not the future. Medium-term agenda is to gradually transit from that, or in addition to the commercial dominance, but also to turn Anambra to become an industrial technology leisure hub of the country, even the sub-West African region, as it were. And as we get on to that, see, this is a country of mighty opportunities. The whole game plan is to transit gradually from an oil-dependent economy as we're getting into a post-oil economy. And we've got a huge agenda for Made in Anambra that is going to drive our industrialization and an Anambra standard industrialization. About 4 or 5 industrial parks that we want to power, powered by gas to power agenda, providing 24-hour electricity. And we're expecting hundreds and thousands of farms, medium to large farms, to be flooding in Anambra. And as we talk to investors, what they are actually looking for, get them security, get them industrial parks that guarantees them power, as it were, and the other incentives that we have labeled out. They want to come to Anambra because you have the market, huge market opportunities. And I also said that I'm going to be the chief marketing officer for any and everything that is produced in Anambra. We have an agenda for those who are importing, or people import a whole lot. I'm building on the can-do spirit of the Anambra first. The human capital. We got about the largest entrepreneurs per square kilometer. It's some people, I can argue that, but arguably the largest concentration of entrepreneurs per every square kilometers, and the can-do spirit of the Anambra person. We want to be able to now link them from the importation. We have an agenda from importation to manufacturing to exportation. The future, given the African Continental Free Trade Area, is export-oriented industrialization, even for Nigeria. But we want to create Anambra as an industrial hub. And with these firms coming and employing hundreds and thousands, we've done quite a bit of number. In the informal sector, you're going to have a boom in the sector. On the industrial space, massive boom out there. Even in the technology world, we have an agenda to turn Anambra to become the digital tribe within the country. We have about 850 850 kilometers of fiber optic cables laid around the highways, which we now want to have the last mile connections to public places and have our students, and especially in public places, to have our students and youths and so on have access to very cheap and ultimately free Wi-Fi, and training tens of thousands of our youths, at least 10 to 13,000 on an annual basis. We've laid this out in our manifesto. And then also powering them with a few billion on an annual basis, 1,000 youth millionaires a year that we want to power with a few millions each, and then linking them up to fund in terms of debt, that they themselves can become job creators rather than employees. And when we start to punch all these numbers from the various sectors, take agriculture as well. It's a huge boom. We have an agenda for 1 million palm seedlings that will be given to our farmers on an annual basis. And of course, our agenda, even for mainstreaming further the large-scale commercial agriculture that can have thousands of the other outgrowers and so on and so forth. So our agenda, then the entertainment tourism industry is virgin. We want Anambra to be really that center through a special project funding to fund Africa's largest entertainment leisure hub, because that will be part of our next oil. That will increase footprints, our estimates of between 500,000 to 1 million visitors a year into Anambra, just to relax and enjoy. Nigeria hasn't got a place with
All
about
right.
200
So,
something million.
Prof, but before we take our first break on the program, because we're talking about facts, and when I mentioned the issue of debt the other time, since you talk about fact, from the figures released from the DMO, the domestic debt of Anambra State as listed as at the end of last year is about 60 billion domestic debt and about 116 million US dollars on the external debt. We just have about 30 or 40 seconds to go on our first break. How would you handle this? How would you be looking to reduce it? Well, you're an economist. You can tell us whether you are going to borrow more, or what would you do with that kind of bucket of debt?
First and foremost, you're putting a source. And I don't want to begin to challenge the DMO. I'm a stickler for statistics and for the sources, but we're going to verify that. I also know that those figures have been challenged, or there are questions raised by the state government about those numbers, because those numbers you just mentioned, 60 billion, 160 million, borrowed from where? From who? Who are the creditors, as the case may be. So when we throw these numbers, these are some numbers I see on social media and so on, but the alternative figures that we have, and when I look at what the numbers are. But let me tell you, regardless of what the numbers are, our manifesto is one that we have fully costed out. And we're going to deal with this in a number of ways. First, we're going to look at the data and see which of them and what it is that will probably require refinancing options that we could explore. We have provisions for our project financing that we're going to explore, because we will be tilting quite a whole lot towards private sector driven projects. We have a whole program there for raising huge project funding, about a few $100 million, that will actually be devoted to funding purely bankable projects.
Quick one, we just have about a minute with you. The big question will be, should you be elected as governor of Anambra State, what would you like Anambra to be noted for? One thing that you perhaps would like your state to be noted for within the first 4 years if you were elected?
Anambra will be on the march forward to be that state that is the preferred destination for people to live, to invest, to relax, to work. To invest, to live, to work, to learn, and to relax and enjoy. That's the key, the foundation of ours. And when you think in terms of that, I will be on the march, you will see the foundation laid, and you will begin to see that as our march towards being an industrial technology leisure hub of West Africa. You will see clear pillars of that if you don't even begin to see the fruits of that. And all the enablers that will require to do that. And let me say this, our manifesto is the only one that has addressed the issue of financing. And you can believe that we have thought it through, we've costed it, where we generate the domestic resources, the IGR, where we get onto project financing, where we do refinancing options, and all the mixed match of financing to deliver what we have promised. And I want to tell you this, with those that have lined up to do this, offering themselves for this job, with every sense of modesty, anyone that Soludo couldn't do, given global, national experience and networks, then it probably wouldn't happen. So
all right, Prof, we need to close now. And just this one, quick one, 20 seconds. I need your help on this one. Quick one. You've been accused of playing religious politics in this election, in the campaign. In fact, the APC and PDP are saying they will beat your party so much that they will beat it out of existence. That's a threat. Are you afraid of these parties? Just in 20 seconds, we need to close now.
Isn't it funny? It's those who are playing those that I was asked to run this by a coalition of more than 40 pressure groups and numbering over 500,000 in number of a number of people that urged me to run across all religious groups, nobody running for office has my credentials on ecumenism in Nigeria from the national level down. I think I'm too big to play religious politics. They are playing those to actually try to catch up with us because they see that we have run off with the election. And so those who are doing that want to begin to make the accusation first so that they see if it will stick. But I want to tell you this. This is a movement, a mass movement of the Anambra people, of all denominations of the Christian, including non-Christian. Those who don't believe, the Muslims, the Christians, of all denominations, and so on, that are the coalition that is propelling me to office.
Professor Charles Soludo, I wish you the very best. The candidate of APGA in the Anambra governorship election, which is just about 10 days away. Thank you so much, Prof, for your time tonight.
Thank you. I wish we'll have time to deal with the manifesto someday. Thank you.